Tonight at Kamala Harris's rally in Arizona, the Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, John Giles, spoke, and he encouraged people to vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, and he slammed Donald Trump and the Republicans while doing it. Now, you may be slightly familiar with John Giles because he recently came out and endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, and it's a big deal. He's a mayor of a huge city in Arizona, and of course, he's bucking his own party and putting country over party, a very honorable thing to do. So I have some clips from his speech to show you. They're both fantastic, but the first clip I want to show you is kind of the first half of what he said tonight, and I think it's worth a watch. So take a look.
Thank you. Thank you. I am the very proud mayor of Mesa, Arizona, but thank you. Thank you. But I have to say, I feel maybe a little out of place today, partly because we're in beautiful Glendale. Okay, there's that. But as you may know, I'm a lifelong Republican. All right? Now, I have thank you for your warm response. I have to tell you that I do not recognize my party. It has been the Republican Party has been taken over by extremists that are committed to forcing people in the center of the political spectrum out of the party. So I have something to say to those of us who are in the political middle. You don't owe a damn thing to that political party.
So we'll pause it right there before we watch the second half, but what he's saying is so incredibly important, and I think that every single American should hear it. That is a lifelong Republican. John Giles is no Democrat. He's no liberal. You can look at his record. You can look at the policies he believes in and advocates for, but that doesn't matter right now, because what does matter is fighting for our country, fighting for democracy, and that is something that every American should be able to agree on. It's certainly something that John Giles is saying, hey, let me put my country over party right now. Yeah, you know, maybe I don't agree with every single policy that Kamala Harris has. Yeah, maybe, you know, we have some differences here and there. But what we do agree on is our democracy matters, and it's worth fighting for. And also, of course, he points out that, hey, the Republican Party we see today is not the same one that we saw 20, 30, 40 years ago. It is not your father's Republican Party, as Joe Biden would constantly say. This is a Republican Party who, as he mentioned, has been taken over by extremist, lunatic, MAGA freaks. These weirdos, as Governor Tim Walz would say, these people who want to invade your doctor's office, invade your homes, invade your schools, tell you what books you can and cannot read. That is not the Republican Party, which, you know, allegedly claims to be the party of conservatism, keeping the government out of your life. That's not the Republican Party anymore. The Republican Party is the party of putting the government back into your life and some of the most important decisions that you make for yourself, your body, your family, your kids, whatever it might be. The party is a party that's loyal to Donald Trump. It is no longer loyal to the American people. And in that same vein, as John Giles said there, you don't owe anything to the Republican Party. If you're a Republican out there, you might be an independent, maybe you voted for Republicans in the past, maybe you voted for Democrats, you kind of go back and forth. You don't owe anything to them. They're certainly not reciprocating. They're not giving you anything. All they're doing is giving everything to Donald Trump, saying, yes, sir, we'll do whatever you say. Every word you say, we believe will go on Fox News and spread the word. Right? That's all they do. They're not fighting for anybody anymore, especially these Republicans out there who might be on the fence. They do not want you. They do not want you. Marjorie Taylor Greene has said it herself that if you're not MAGA, you are not welcome in the party. And people like John Giles, these moderate Republicans, these Nikki Haley voters are feeling that. They are feeling the fact that these Republicans don't want them. So much so that there is now a group called Republicans for Kamala Harris. And it has some high-ranking Republicans, former congressmen and women like Adam Kinzinger, Joe Walsh, and more, who are, John Giles as well, who are supporting Kamala Harris, voting for her, and campaigning for her, as John Giles is right there. Lifelong Republican, ladies and gents, boys and girls, lifelong Republican, no Democrat. He is a Republican mayor of a typically Republican city, and he's out here campaigning for VP Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz. It's fantastic. But as I said, there's another half to this speech that I think is equally important, and I want you to see it. So take a look.
In particular, you do not owe anything to a party that is out of touch and is hell-bent on taking our country backward. And by all means, you owe no displaced loyalty to a candidate that is morally and ethically bankrupt. So again, to all of us, I would say, in the spirit of the great Senator John McCain, please join me in putting country over party and stopping Donald Trump and protecting the rule of law, protecting our Constitution, and protecting the democracy of this great country. That is why I'm standing with Vice President Harris and Governor Walz.
Another really strong portion of his speech tonight. And look, listen to the reasons that he said he's voting for Kamala Harris. He said, I want to preserve and protect our Constitution. I want to uphold the rule of law. That's why I'm voting for Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz, not Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Those reasons right there are not partisan. They're not Democrat, Republican, Independent, Libertarian. They're none of that. They're just American. They're American. These are principles that every single American, no matter what you believe, should stand up for. And that obviously comes with a Kamala Harris presidency and not a Donald Trump presidency. We know that Donald Trump doesn't uphold the rule of law. My God, he's a convicted felon 34 times. But also, when it comes to the Constitution, Donald Trump has stomped all over the Constitution. He even suggested that it should be terminated because he claimed the 2020 election wasn't fair. That is not somebody who stands up for these very American principles, the fundamentals we've had in our country since our founding. But what I find really important and admirable about this speech is that it's just like, look at the optics right there. Look at the presentation. This is a Republican talking to other possible Republicans, talking to obviously Democrats in the crowd, but the speech was streamed everywhere saying, hey, I'm a Republican, side with me. It's one thing for a Democrat like me and a Democrat like you or a Democrat like Kamala Harris to be preaching from a rooftop about how people should vote for Democrats. That's one thing because we are Democrats, of course. It's another for a Republican to be doing that at a Democratic presidential candidate's rally. So when you're just seeing this split screen right here of a campaign like Kamala Harris, who has people like me, people like you, people like solid Democrats, old, young, middle-aged, whatever it might be, from different origins, different backgrounds, different races, all standing with Kamala Harris, and on top of that, Republicans who fundamentally disagree on some of the policy but agree that democracy is important. That's one side of the choice we have this election. And then on the other, we have people like Donald Trump, people like J.D. Vance, and the overwhelming majority of the people who are voting for him are people who see no wrong in him. The people who are surrogates for Donald Trump, the people who go on Fox News and do his bidding, also see no wrong in him. That is quite the split screen of two different campaigns, one that represents the people, that has the people involved, Kamala Harris and her campaign, whereas the other, Donald Trump, represents Trump himself and nobody else. So, I mean, really, really well done by John Giles tonight. I'm always so thankful when I see people I disagree with saying, hey, country matters more than party, and they're stepping up to do their part in making sure our country continues. So I really, really love what I saw tonight. It just means so much to, I think, so many people, and I will wrap up the video there. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below. It goes an incredibly long way. It should be on your screen somewhere as well. Make sure to like the video as well. And of course, comment. Let me know what you think about all this. I'm excited to hear from you. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.